welcome to NEK VT Rocks. And today we're not broadcasting live, we're not broadcasting from the studio, we're doing what Saturday Night Live did. And if they can do it, so can we. My guest today is Rick Desrochers, who is the Executive Director of Memphremagog Community Maritime. And for anyone who's wondering what that is, that's the boat. Good morning, Rick.
Good morning.
Seeing you.
Nice seeing you too.
It would be nice to actually be seeing you in person, but you know what? We can make the best of this and we can just keep chatting.
Exactly. Yeah.
So when did you, quote, get on board?
I came on board around the 1st of March.
Okay.
So yeah, it's been different.
Yeah, I'm sure you started with sort of a full sail of wind and now crashed. You're rowing hard.
Yes and no. We're still working on tons of really cool ideas, and right. I just feel like I'm still going at full speed. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of a cool thing behind the scenes and doing Zoom meetings and stuff like that. So it's been interesting. I want to be on the boat doing some cool things and stuff like that, but right now we can't. And
if anyone had said to me a few months ago that I would be doing a TV show on Zoom or meeting with a lot of other people via Zoom, I would have laughed at them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
Right. You know, I don't like the idea of video conferencing, but we're suddenly looking at the world in a very different way.
Yeah, and you get to see everybody's houses and how they live.
Fake wallpaper. You are actually seeing part of my house, and you'll probably see a cat walk by or two as well.
Yeah.
All I'm seeing for you though is a curtain. I have no idea what you've got there.
I've got a very beautiful backyard, so but the light.
Seeing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the plan, as I understood it, because Patrick Martell has been on this show a couple of times, was that the boat, the Northern Star, was going to be part of the funding of the blanket organization Memphremagog Community Maritime. So the boat would go out and do cruises as she has done before for the last 7 years. Hard to believe it's 7 years.
I know, it's crazy.
But then the rest of the organization would be doing environmental education.
Correct.
So where are we with all of that? As the world changes?
So right now we're still working on some cool ideas. Right now, my main objective right now is to bring some entertainment in so that we can raise some money for our other programs, educational programs. I think it's very important for us as an organization for education. I've said it from day one that this has to be about community. This has to be about education, because we have a lot of young kids coming up that we could give them a different, how would I say it? A different thought process, I think, in environmental studies. You know, the working with a career center, we could work with a career center. So we will get there. And it'll be really exciting for all of us.
What really hooked people into saving the boat, because if I can backtrack a little here, my understanding is that the boat was up for sale because, for whatever reason, the business model and everything else that was happening economically at that time made it less viable.
Correct.
And that a group of really concerned, involved Newport people decided that no, that the boat belonged on Lake Memphremagog. The Northern Star really was the light that we all follow, and that if that group could buy the boat, then that could become a community endeavor, and that is the point of it becoming a non-profit organization. So there really was that option for community to have joint ownership of this vehicle. Yeah. And ultimately to really get to know the lake, our lake.
It is really cool because I just think as a Northern Star, as a wheel in motion and bringing the whole community together to move forward. I know it's kind of, you know, that old paddle wheel boat of it just moving forward and going through the lake and things like that. So yeah, we're really excited. We're doing some really cool things. I've been working hard with different businesses. So that's been really cool, and we can talk about that.
And really challenging right now too.
It is very challenging right now because they're in a survival mode. But in saying that, there's a lot of good things coming out of it too. You look at, you know, Fritz and Paula from the Derby Line Village Inn and what they're doing right now for cornucopia and feeding the kids from, you know, they're feeding, I think, 700 kids a day or part of that.
Amazing.
You know, you're seeing, you know, Tina Carter with a T-bar and hoagies doing, it felt like I was stepping back in time because we went there the other night to the T-bar, which is a new place, bar kind of slash gathering place. And we ordered some great chicken from there, fried chicken. And it felt like we were at the A&W root beer snack bar where they used to come out and bring it to you. So it kind of, they're learning how to adapt.
How are the businesses going to be involved with the Northern Star and MCM?
So right now, what we're working on, and it's been really, they're all for it. And I'm going to continue to get some other restaurants. So what we're going to do is each of the restaurants, our plan is they'll have a week where or a weekend, because right now we're going to be doing it Friday, Saturday, and Sunday cruises. When everything, you know, it'll be probably midsummer area. But what we're going to do is have them cater each week so it doesn't overwhelm them. And it gives variety to the customers coming on the boat. So it's different all the time. And we're going to bring some entertainment on that is really cool, doing some themes.
Local musicians,
definitely.
There's one creating this show right now who I'm sure would like to be a part of it.
When he sees what we're doing, a lot of people are going to be on board with it. We're just doing it a different way. We're involving the community. I think it's very important. We want to amplify the businesses because right now we wanted to amplify them before, you know, coronavirus came into play, but now we really want to amplify what they're about. So it's gonna be really fun, you know. And this is the plan for the next step.
So if somebody, assuming all of our limitations are lifted from us sometime this summer, and people want to take a trip on the lake, they can go to wherever the ticket office is going to be, or do this online, wherever that's going to be, get a ticket, and when they go on the boat, the food option will be whichever restaurant is catering that weekend.
Correct. And I will amplify on their business what they're about, whether it's a flag of the T-Bar or the Derby Line Village Inn or Hillman's on Main. I want to do some really cool things with America's. You know, I want to get America's involved. I want to reach out. So it's a variety of, so you'll have for everything from comfort food to Italian to Austrian German to.
Will the list be up on the website of who's catering which weekend?
It will. Yeah. So
musicians will be posted.
That's what we're going to do. We're going to do that. And we're also going to bring in some some really cool. We have Tim Cavanaugh, who I've talked with about doing a game shows on the boat to raise money for what we're doing. It's all about giving back to the community. So
what kind of game shows does he do?
So he does everything from like a Jeopardy kind of feel. He makes it fun, and it'll be on the on our website.
So it'll be like the sort of Trivial Pursuits event.
It will. It will.
The brainy.
Yep. So we were thinking about, a casino night, a 50s theme, working with the local car clubs, Cars of Yesteryear, to do kind of that 50s theme, and people can come down and
drive up to the dock.
That's what we're planning. So we want everybody working together. This is everybody buying into a really cool not idea, because it was already there. We're just dusting it off and polishing it up and making it better, and working with everything from the city to the local community.
Right. The last time Patrick was on the show was just after the boat had been lifted out of the water and had a barnacle scraped off and a paint job and the scrub down and the inspection, and then she was put back in. But a couple came up to, I was one of the people watching because it was fascinating, and a couple came up who said that their little boy used to come down to the boat every night, put his hands on the boat and talk about my boat. I haven't run into that family since. I was hoping to, but there was something that was so beautiful about that, about a kid seeing the boat as his and the community being able to build on that. How is MCM going to involve kids? And can that happen before we can even do cruises?
Right now, it's just with the state and the federal government. I think we're running into just people not being at their same place, so it's getting a little difficult.
Sure.
Right now, we cannot have people on the boat. Even.
But in a couple of months.
Yeah, well, that's what we're definitely planned. I want to make it fun and educational. Involving the Parks and Rec. They have done it before, and it was really special. We had Mark Shelton on, and they did some educational, fun things with a pirate and song and music.
I remember that. Yeah.
It was really special. So, we have such talent around here. And why not utilize that talent that we have around here, from local musicians to, passionate people about the lake and the boat. This is about the community. Yeah.
And following the Northern Star, which is always a symbol of hope. I always love that name because of what it represents.
Right. Yep.
And we sometimes forget that there's a whole organization around the boat, but there is. She's not just sitting there in state or in solitary splendor or isolation.
Well, we have weekly meetings, and it's just a lot of passion, because we have hiccups here and there, but we continue to meet week after week, and has been going on since November of 2017.
Wow.
That's absolutely crazy.
That's amazing. That's a commitment.
Well, and that's the whole thing. Nobody's getting paid for this. It's passion. It's about passion. It's about doing the right thing for the community. And that's why
trying to raise some money to keep the boat afloat, because that's not free. That can't be.
Right. And that's where, getting with community partners, and it just has to be everybody buying into something really special and amplifying what we have. I had, it was really cool. I had somebody come up that was from Indiana. He was inspecting our fire extinguishers on the boat, and he hadn't been up here. And I started telling him about what we were planning to do, and he's like, "Can I bring my friends up here?" So
Yeah.
it was really cool. This is from Montpelier, and I think a lot of it. I have been on the boat many a times in the past, and everybody had a wonderful time. And what they loved about it is they didn't feel claustrophobic,
Right.
like going to, Boston or even Burlington. Sometimes, you're packing people on there, and we want to make this intimate and special and just relax and take
Yeah.
a breath of the beauty around us. So.
Right. I've been on the boat several times during the years that Chris Johansson was operating her, and it was always so pleasant.
It's funny because my dad, I was able to take, sorry, I was able to take my dad on the boat for Father's Day, and it was really special because he got to, ride up with a captain, and now we have some great memories of him riding up and laughing their butts off, of just telling stories about the lake, because he grew up. I grew up in Newport area and came back, and my dad's been here since since he was born, and has some great stories about the lake road and of Newport, and so it helps us on the history of that. And I want to work with Scott Wheeler on doing some history of it and putting that together on a video of just pictures of what where you go through Vista and the east side, and just tell us a really cool, fun history and not so fun history of Newport, because we've always had challenges,
Right.
but we've always overcame those challenges.
Right. And there's the history of the lake, which is not just the lake as we know it now, which is divided by Canada and the US, but the lake as it was back centuries ago. And there are still people from the tribes who lived here then who
Correct.
have so much knowledge that it would be wonderful to have a vehicle for sharing that knowledge. That would be a great way for reaching kids.
Well, and that's the whole thing and it's also working, Memphremagog Community Maritime is just not about the water. It's about the land around us and stuff like that. And partnering with, the Vermont Land Trust and different organizations to make this really special, because they want to educate. They want to do the same thing as what we're trying to do, is educate the children, educate the adults that are interested, and making it special.
We live here. We know it's special. Why wouldn't we want others to know that?
It's weird when I've gotten to travel and live in different places, and I see so much potential in the area, and it's going to have to start with something special. So why not bring the boat and Memphremagog Community Maritime to the forefront and steer us in a direction.
Yeah, why not? And I know there are other organizations that are already working well with MCM. I know MWA is, and obviously the Land Trust.
Correct.
And probably the colleges around here, once they eventually get back to also not being trapped on a TV screen.
Well, I want to bring it. There's just so many possibilities out there that we can utilize from, the Career Center is a huge part that when I came back there, we didn't have that when I was growing up and going to North Country. And now I'm like, oh my God, we've got this vehicle. These kids want to learn, and this is, they're into high school, and this is what they're going. Some of them are going into engineers and biology and,
and environmental sciences.
Exactly. And utilizing those kids that want to learn and help us, because we're going to learn stuff from the kids that we didn't know about.
Exactly.
and working, I'd love to work with Linden State or
Sterling College in
yeah,
Crabtree. That's a fabulous
exactly.
place.
We have so much around us. Let's utilize what we have.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. It really is an exciting time. And although I know that you came in with the intention of hitting the ground running and running fast, probably in the long run, being forced to go a little slower is good.
It was challenging at first because I had so much on my mind, and this is what we needed to do, and just I'm able to take a deep breath and reset myself, because we're still going. I still feel like I'm going a million miles a minute and trying to answer questions.
You could have been going.
And that's the whole thing. And luckily we have, a lot of great board members who I, can talk with and bounce ideas off of. Last night I was sending you some stuff, and just hey, I've got this idea, or our president, so it's definitely really special, and I'm glad that I have a board that supports what I'm trying to do at the same time. Dave Converse, I talk with him every other day, who's the president of Memphremagog Community Maritime. So
more important, you've got a fantastic community out there that would love ways of being involved.
Well, exactly. And I just think of the community and how special it is to me.
Right.
And I want to give back to that community that's given so much to me. So, yeah.
Yeah, and you're a quote real Vermonter, whatever that means. I mean, I think my understanding is you have to have several generations here before you can ever cross that threshold. The rest of us will always be flatlanders, foreigners, or whatever. And it is so good that people who truly are from here are into this, that they think it's important.
Well, I've gotten to travel to, you travel to Quebec City, and you travel, I love Quebec City. It's one of my favorite places to go. But there's so much else to see and learn from these different areas of what works for them and what doesn't work for them. And it's going to be fun. Right now, nobody knows, but we're just building for the future. We're using this coronavirus as a stepping stone to make it something, and working out the ideas that we have and putting it to tuition. So
yeah, I mean, obviously there's a lot of energy focused on that particular nasty little virus right now, but it's really a metaphor for us taking care of the health of our environment, our own personal environment, and the environment around us. If we can maintain the health of the lake,
correct,
then we're helping future generations.
And don't forget, it's international. So we're not only just helping the United States out, we're helping Canada out. So, well, that's the other thing that we've got to look at.
And they actually own 75% of that lake. What we have is a gargantuan pond. It's a gorgeous pond. But our international access here is so important. And the Canadians are really invested in maintaining their lake.
Right.
It's a reservoir for them.
Correct. And that's why, we want to work with the Canadians on this, because I think it's important to everybody. And, we're just doing this to help the future generations and make this a better place for when we leave, better place for them. So
it's actually a lovely vision, sort of moving forward, a healthy lake with a beautiful boat on it. And hopefully more boats. I mean,
It is.
it's strange a few boats are here.
Well, and it's just this city, you know, when you come into, you know, when we're coming back from a cruise and you look at the city and you're just like, this is a really special city.
Yeah.
Every city has their challenges, but we can all work together.
So do you have a sort of 5-minute elevator presentation that you share with people that we can post online? I know the website for MCM is currently being developed.
Correct.
There is a Facebook page, right?
Correct. Yeah. And so right now we're looking at mid-June to July, early part of July right now. Just we want to make sure that everybody's safe, you know, first and foremost. So that
we can't do anything until we're told we can.
Well, and that's the whole thing. So, and that can be moved, but you know, I'm able to still work with the local restaurants.
Sure.
You know, they're trying to get all of their stuff because they're still working. You know, you look at Lagos right now. You know, Frank and Michelle are kind of gutted out or took all their furniture out and are sanding the floors right now. So you're seeing people, you know, even the border, you know, the border lounge, they're doing some remodeling. So you're seeing, and Dina Gray is doing some remodeling right now, you know, right across from Walmart at the tavern. You know, so you're seeing people saying, hey, now we've got some time.
Right.
Let's and that's the fun thing that you're seeing is they're just not stopping. And I think it's a lot of this community of we're just not stopping. We're going to continue to do
right
and make this better in the long run. So.
And doing it in a way that's supportive of the community. We are following the quote guidelines. People
Correct.
are doing things that are unessential, and they're doing it safely.
Right.
And
correct.
The boat is ready to rock and roll, which hopefully the governor will be gradually lifting some of the barriers.
Yeah. And
the boat will be ready to go.
Well, and that's our plan. We're excited. We're nervous as everybody because we don't know on how. We're excited for the community and we're nervous at the same time because it's going to be a challenge of coming back to the new norm. Nobody knows what that new normal is going to be.
Isn't that a weird phrase? The new normal.
Right. So we just have to be there for when the community's ready, and it'll be something really special.
Well, we are about out of time, so thank you so much for being willing to do this. You are the quote first Zoom experiment for me. So thank you for being willing to do that.
Not a problem.
Think yourself as a pioneer now.
No, I think we're all pioneers because this is something new to all of us.
Exactly.
You know, the board members that we have right now are all in that same boat that
we're all in the same boat, right?
Well, yeah, we are moving things forward.
Yeah.
And you know, it's just really special. You know, I wrote something that was really cool, and I said, you know, right now we can continue to monitor what's going on with coronavirus. We don't know when we'll be cruising for the summer, but any cruise is better than in a couple of years past. Summer cruises will bring hope and success to us and the community, and a stepping stone for the future of MCM.
And that's a great way to end this show.
Yeah.
That's what will happen. And once the boat is up and cruising, I would love you to come back and hopefully in the studio that time. Although the backdrop there and the backdrop here will work, and we can see screenshots of Todd, who's editing this, with his guitar.
Or we could do a Zoom meeting from the top of the boat.
that would work. I'm up for that. So thanks for doing this, and I'll be talking to you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.